Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, with your host Zaki Baruti. And like always, I want to give a shout out to my biological family. What's going on? To the Universal African Peoples Organization family, what's happening? And to New Life Evangelistic Center family, headed by Reverend Rice. Keep up the great work. As well as a shout out to our cameraman Bob. On that note, we'll have another great show because in studio with me, I have a very distinguished, I'm going to call her a health guru. And I'm speaking none other than Dr. Chef Felicia Ann Jordan. Welcome to Conversation with Zaki Baruti.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay then. When I begin all my shows, and I take the word health guru very serious, so we're going to be getting into the issues of health. But before I begin the shows, I always like for my guests to know my viewers to know a little bit about my guests. So share some background information about yourself, wherever you want the thousands of people who's listening to know about you.
Well, I'm a native of East St. Louis, Illinois.
Rah, rah, rah. I'm from East St. Louis also, but go ahead.
Yeah, from the famous Jackie Jordan Kersey, as most people would know. So we got a whole lot of the same type of motivation, determination, love, and passion from our people is what I have adopted and what I really loved about being born and raised there in East St. Louis in the late 70s, 80s, early 90s. I, of course, like most, took and graduated, went to college, and just moved a little bit up through the ways into the Belleville area, and married, had children, and from there, I thought we would give my children, our family at the time, a more better, safer environment to raise them in. And it just so happens that upon having my firstborn daughter in 1998, that is when they changed the amount of immunizations, shots that they were going to implement to newborn children. And during that time, in 1998, I was at that time a certified nurse assistant and had already received experience in being a rehabilitation specialist. So my background coming from out of high school, getting married a few years later, was nursing and health occupation, voted most likely to become a doctor then, but wind up doing what some of us did because of my background of being a quote-unquote Christian, or as they say, a PK kid. That tradition was there so strong.
What's a PKA child?
A preacher's daughter, or coming from a preacher's family.
Oh, okay. So your background, your father was in the ministry.
Ministry, yes. My aunts, uncles, everybody was in the church, really deep, really heavily. And we were the church. And so having that and being taught that you believe in God for everything and for your healing and all that. And then after marrying and moving away, just a little bit away from there, realizing that the prayer wasn't fixing what I was discovering that was taking place with my daughter at that time. And so that launched me into wanting to learn more about what we are eating, what we are drinking. And I got that through a prayer, just in one day watching her 5 years later, and she's starting to have epileptic symptoms from the shots. But I noticed it after the second set.
Okay, then. So, you're answering some of my questions that I was going to ask in your narrative. But let me ask this question then, which was, first of all, in terms of, I introduced you as Dr. Chef. Mm-hmm. What is the significance of doctor and then chef and then your surname?
Yeah, the significance of doctors that I received that not long ago, I've always worked in the health and wellness field, you name it, in living centers, hospitals as a nurse, and then as a rehabilitation specialist. And so I was always called Doctor. Believe it or not, even in high school, they called me Dr. Hill. That was my maiden name.
Oh, okay. So that
So
was a
even
given name
before
to
it
you by
was
the
a-
community.
it was-
Oh, okay.
It was all I never could get away from it. I'm like, and so because we had a health occupation, a program was presented at Eastside Senior High Flyer.
Okay.
It was presented at that time before I graduated in 1994. It was presented to us to be able to walk around with our white lab coats and be a part of the health occupation class.
Oh, so you were taking a class around health at East St. Louis Senior High School, which I was a former teacher.
Yes.
So, and that's how you got the name doctor.
That's how I
Now,
started.
is there any other significance tied to doctor? Do you have a degree in doctorate, or
Yes,
are you?
yes.
And what is that degree in?
That is in naturopathy and theology, of course. I had to take theology courses and classes in naturopathic work because of I'm through Lindenwood University to one of the it was
So
a
that's the
specialist
college you got your
there.
degree from Lindenwood. Okay,
From a
and what is
professor.
naturopology? I mean, say that-
Naturopathic. It means
naturopathic.
to practice healing through or healing of the body through natural means, natural resources only, without chemicals.
You know, in the off air discussion, I had asked you, and I'm asking you now on air, how did you get into health? And you were saying to me at that time, it was out of reflection of some family members. Would you like to share that?
Yes, I had an auntie, my mother's youngest sister, which it was 9 of them. She began to have swelling. She was only 4 years older than me. I come from a very large
And how old
family.
was she then at that time?
She was 9.
9 years old. Okay.
Yes, and I was 4 when I recognized that she was limping. And so, being the first grandchild, I got a chance as my mother would visit my grandmother and I would see her. My heart went out to her. She couldn't play, and she stopped being able to play and do all the things, active things that her siblings, my other aunts and uncles were doing. And so I usually wanted to stay behind and help her. But I had noticed that it kept worsening, that her leg just kept swelling. And I remember my grandmother taking her to Chicago and flying all around, doing different places to different specialists to try and get the arthritis at the time under control.
And this is a young girl with arthritis. Okay, I got to hold that point because we got to take a quick break.
This is what the Lord Almighty, this is what He says in Zechariah 7:9. Administer true justice, show mercy and compassion to one another. Psalm chapter 10, verse 18, to do justice to the fatherless and oppressed, so that the man who's of the earth may not terrify them anymore. Isaiah 1:17, learn to do right, seek justice, relieve the oppressed, and correct the oppressor, defend the fatherless, and plead for the widow. Jeremiah 22, verse 3, thus saith the Lord, execute justice and righteousness, and deliver out of the hand of the oppressor him who has been robbed. And do no wrong, do no violence to the stranger, the homeless, the temporary resident, the fatherless, and the widow, nor shed innocent blood in this place. Amos 5:24, we're going to see justice run like waters, and righteousness is a mighty stream.
God loves a cheerful giver. Even though things are really tough right now, you can make a difference in the lives of so many. New Life has been doing this work for 50 years, and we have seen God's gracious goodness through people like you who have participated in this work. There are so many people who are suffering. More people are becoming homeless for the first time with the rising costs of inflation and food and housing and so many other commodities. We need help. You can make a difference today in the lives of so many. I'm reminded of all of our partners throughout 50 years who have been blessed as they've given to the work of New Life. We want you to participate and feel God's blessing working in and through you as you work in this ministry. We need partners like you. We have so many people, and we just give God the glory and the praise. We are thankful for even people like Bernie Hayes and Sakid Baruti and all the work that they do through New Life. If you enjoy their show, give God the glory. We're so thankful that they have been faithful with New Life for so many years. You can make a difference today by giving your tax-deductible gift to P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. Or go to newlifeevangelisticcenter.org or call to get involved in this incredible work.
Welcome back to Conversation with Sakid Baruti. In the studio with me is Dr. Chef Felicia Ann Jordan. And on the other side of the break, I had asked in terms of sharing the story as to what motivated you to get into health and continue.
Yes, and so it was my youngest aunt, my mother's baby sister, Michelle, that inspired me to want to learn about the body, how to heal the body, through watching her legs swell as I was a little girl, start from her ankles. And I remember hearing the conversations. I don't know how I'd been so young, but I remember hearing the conversations of them saying that the doctor said maybe it's coming from cold. Maybe it's her room. You know, they were given no real true answers to why she was experiencing inflammation in her ankle that eventually led to, as the years, every year went by, they would put her on a medication and a drug, and it wouldn't heal her body. She just kept getting worse and worse until it eventually consumed her entire body. And she began to get more stiff, put on more weight. And I remember around about the time I made about 14 years old, I'm trying to think of, I may have been in 7th grade at the time, and I was trying to think of what can I do to help my auntie, since she was such a positive force in my life. And I said, I know I can go, in my mind I was thinking then I can go into I can become a nurse to help her. Right. I hadn't gotten to the doctor part yet. I become a nurse to help her, because at that time, what I knew about health and wellness, I thought that they could eventually help, even though I saw that all the specialists and doctors that they were taking her to did not help. So I was blindsided like everyone else, thinking that, well, maybe they just hadn't found the right doctor.
So also within this our conversation off air, you have made mention, and is this the same person that they had so many medicines that they were taking place? Explain that. I think it's very important for folks to kind of look at what you're going to say. All right.
Yeah, my at around about 14, 15 years, around about 16, I had decided that I was going to go into, that I was interested in becoming a nurse at that point, because my godmother was a general nurse at the time as well. And, you know, she was very supportive, stating that, yes, she's going to be a nurse like me. And so I thought that was the way. And so I thought to start asking her, my auntie, when I was able to visit her in Decatur, for the summer, my mother finally let my aunties beg her to come, because my mother was very protective. My mother and father was very protective of us, and so they didn't like us out of their sight, really. And so, but yet that summer I was able to go and visit her, and I noticed that she had like 10 to 12 different drugs and medications at the counter, getting ready to take each one of them. At this time, the arthritis now, we're talking about from age of 4, I'm going at 16 at that time. I'm noticing that it is taking over her whole body. She's already now, the knees had deteriorated, so she's already had to have knee surgery, meaning that she would have been, if that's 16, that's 12 extra years later. As you can, I'm 16, she's 4 years old. She would have been only 20 at the time. And so I asked her, I said, so what do you have to take that pill for? Do you know which pill is going to help you? And why do they have you taking all of these meds? And she told me, she just started picking out one by one, telling me how each one makes her feel. And so she picked the first one out, and she said, this one makes me feel bloated. And then she would pick the other one up. They were all different sizes and shapes. And she said, this one makes me feel hungry. This one makes me feel like I can't eat. This one makes me drowsy.
Wow.
This one constipates me, so I got to be careful with this one. So she understood the importance of not being constipated then too. This one, I got to wait till nighttime to take this one because this one right here will have me up too much. And so finally, after her giving me all of these different symptoms and side effects, now that I know now that they were side effects that she was explaining to me, I just took a deep breath and I said, okay, Auntie, I said, which one of them is going to help you recover or heal your body from the arthritis? And she looked at me, what now I believe was my defining moment, and she said, I don't know.
Wow, wow. So within that story in of itself, in terms of the kind of drugs we get, because those are drugs. When we talk about drugs, America is a well drugged out nation on so many levels.
Yes.
In terms of the prescription drugs, I can remember an encounter where I was reading the side effects of drugs, and including up to death. I mean, it would be all kinds of negative things that might come out of that. Your response to that?
They said the greatest way, especially among our culture, if we want to use the term culture, to hide something from us would be to put it in a book. Well, if we won't read it in a book, my thoughts is that we wouldn't read it on a label either. Even if we read it, we wouldn't per se internalize that as being a warning before destruction.
Well, you know, and I raise that because there's a lot of concern with pharmaceutical companies making billions of dollars off a variety of projected diseases out here. And in your profession, you're saying that you can prevent the use of a lot of kinds of drugs. On that note, though, we're going to take a break and we're going to get into that.
I thank God for Zaki Baruti and all the folks that are working with him that have stood with us all these years to get back into 1411 Locust so we can feed the hungry, shelter the homeless, reach out among those that are in need and be a beacon of hope to so many that have lost hope. Seems like all hell's broke loose in downtown St. Louis ever since they shut this building down in April 2017. I mean, they've had to put barricades on Washington Boulevard, bring out more police and everything else. Why? We can be that light. We can be that salt that Christ has called us to be if we'll pray together, work together, and do everything we can now to move forward and get into 1411 Locust. We need individuals who will help us make various repairs, people of faith that will pray with us and believe God with us for the resources that we need. We need to stand steadfast and see that the city doesn't give in to the big money interests. And there's a lot of big money interests that putting a lot of pressure for our mayor, on our mayor. You need to pray for our mayor at this particular time, that she'll stand with the poor. There's a lot of pressure on her at this time. And I want to encourage you to just seek God as to what He would have you share. You can write me, Larry Rice, at P.O. Box 473, St. Louis, Missouri. That's 63166. If you feel that there's someone that I need to visit or Chris Aaron needs to visit, call us at 314-421-3020 to make them part of the team at this particular moment. If you'd like to have us come speak at your church, again, you can call 314-421-3020. Ask for myself, Larry Rice, or Chris Aaron Rice. And we'll be happy to come and share this vision. What a great God we serve. And how I thank God for those of you that have been praying, those who have been standing with us throughout the years. The door of opportunity is open, so we can reopen this building and be a refuge to the hurting and the homeless and help provide them with so many things that they need at this particular time. Yes, I believe that God is a miracle-working God, and as we continue to remain steadfast, we're going to see Him do exceedingly beyond what we can even ask or think.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti. In studio with me is the health guru, Dr. Chef Felicia Ann Jordan. On the other side of the break, but I have another question. I better ask this question before, and don't let me forget to go back to the original about pharmaceuticals. You got Dr. Chef. I failed to ask, how did the chef get in there?
The chef got in there with my mother and father, even though they were able to do many things. They're very talented, very, as some would call, gifted people. My mother worked for the school district in District 189 as head. cook for years, and then she took culinary arts classes and courses as well. And so I learned first. I had to give credit where credit is due back to my mother, and my father also became a chef years ago. He worked as head chef at Adams Markets as well. At the time, the hotel, and I learned by watching them and my aunts how to cook and do nice lean cuisines. But unfortunately, at that time they were like most Americans. They were cooking everything under the sun, and so I learned the love and the passion of how to cook and bake from my mother and my father. But I didn't get that label of chef until I started working with some of my other colleagues and opened up my practice in Ferry Heights, Illinois at the time. And I wanted to demonstrate to and show my clients how to make what we call our food, what we call soul food, chili, sweet potato pies, and all these foods that we have grown accustomed and tradition to love. I made them out of all natural organic ingredients instead.
Okay, then. So on that point too, I gotta ask on that natural organics versus the other products. So you gotta help me stay focused. Yeah. Okay, now going back in terms of the pharmaceutical, the impacts of drugs. So out of your personal experience of seeing your cousin, auntie, suffered through arthritis and being motivated to get into the health field, you have now created some products that you, as a health guru, want to project into our community, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And what are those health products?
Well, the first one was...
are they called in one large name? Or?
Oh, yes. My own business line is Dr. Chef Botanicals.
Dr. Chef Botanicals. And when you think of botanicals, you think of plants. Yes. Plants. Okay, then.
All plant-based, all superfoods, what we call natural, derived.
So when you say
foods.
Plant-based products, then you're saying that your products does not derive at any from animals or that kind of thing then. So,
not at all.
And why do you feel plant-based products are better than, we be liking to eat, some folks like pork chops.
Yeah.
Some like beef. I eat periodic beef, fish, chicken, and what have you. So what's supposed to be the health benefits of plant-based products over products that, as I say, include animal
flesh? Yes, because we are the greatest plant. We are the biggest. We are the most intelligent form of a plant. If you look at it from a biological standpoint, from a chemist, from one that studies the cells in the body, you will find that every cell that we have is derived into the plant. And as they say, we come from the earth. That's true. We literally do. That's why when we pass and when we decease, when the oxygen is gone, when the blood flow stops, and you go into the grave, you go back years later in most cases. If we're not preserved properly, we disintegrate right back into the dust. Dust, from dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Then our cells are the same as the plant. So that's the number one natural reason why I believe that it's best for us to consume what we are.
I know that's right. But let me ask this question then. And I have to ask this question on the other side of the break.
As New Life Evangelistic Center works to get back into the 1411 Locust building, it has first responders that are on the streets day after day. It's helping the hurting and homeless, women and children through a wide variety of safe houses, along with homeless veterans and others that are in need, on-the-job training programs, and much more. And all of it's possible because of those of you that are supporting the work of the New Life Evangelistic Center. It's New Life Evangelistic Center that owns and operates NLEC TV, also seen on your set on 24.2. I want to encourage you to have that app put on your phone, NLEC TV. Encourage your family and friends to do the same. And as you support New Life Evangelistic Center and NLEC TV, you're also helping the Zaki Baruti Show and other programs that New Life Evangelistic Center produces. I'm asking you to please continue New Life, keep New Life in your prayers as we're working to be there when people are hurting. There's so many homeless women and children, so many people that are in need. And it's the prayers of caring people like you that make it possible for us to help each and every one of these individuals.
There are so many people who work in our community glorifying God with the gifts that they have, and we thank Zakid for doing that regularly with us. You can make a difference too by partnering alongside New Life Evangelistic Center. If you're tired of seeing all of the pain and the hurting around you in your community, and you're ready to get into the trenches and to work alongside a ministry that has been doing this work for so long, consider and pray helping New Life Evangelistic Center to be there when people are hurting. Zaki has done that for many years, and we're so thankful for that. You can be a part of the difference too. You can be a part of the team, God's team, of working to help heal the hurts of hurting people in our community. We would love to partner alongside you. Please contact us soon to get involved with the work of New Life Evangelistic Center.
Thank you, Lord. I just want to thank you, Lord.
Welcome back to Conversation with Zaki Baruti, and we only have a few minutes with Dr. Chef Felicia Ann Jordan, a health guru, and we didn't even have time to properly go into her products, which we are going to do a part 2. But on your products itself, if you can just mention real quick, and how would people be able to get access to your products?
Yes, they can get access through reaching out to me through Gmail, through my email setting. I'm still setting up the website because I have a few more other items that I want to add in for the overall health benefits, even though these by itself would be at www.drchefhealthandwellness@gmail.com. And then they can also call in and via text also leave a voicemail at 618-388-8100. So that's how they can call in and place an order by phone. And I do ship from state to state as well. And the package that I have here is just an example of how some of the items come through the mail, and I made sure that it was really well preserved.
Real quick then, your products, see we got a colon purifier, right?
Yes.
So they have, what, real quick, because we only get a minute, what does this supposed to do?
All illnesses starts in the colon. It festers in the colon, so it cleanses out and purifies the colon.
Cleanses the colon out. Okay, this is chlorophyll drops.
Chlorophyll drops help
what is
also.
This supposed to do?
It comes from plant derived. That's what's inside of your green leafy vegetables, but from a pure form that helps cleanse the colon as well, but from a liquid form.
Okay, this is advanced multiple liquids.
Yes.
And what does this do?
That's your overall minerals and vitamins that the body needs in order to be at its most healthiest, best to fight off diseases.
And again, this is some silver.
Colloidal silver.
And what does that do?
The colloidal silver helps fight off flus and in all forms of infections.
All right, and you got some B12.
Yes.
Okay,
energy.
and that's for energy?
Yes, energy and digestive system helps you to absorb and digest your natural foods in a more safer and healthier way.
You got something that's called light transfer
factor. Yes, that one is not mine, but I promote any products for meat eaters and those who have issues with it. That's a mucus binder and former, and it actually helps to boost your immune system when we're having to deal with this type of weather and viruses that's going around. It's one of the number ones that I found that was very convenient, very tasty, but at the same time, I used that during the first wave of the pandemic, and so many people recovered, even those that were diagnosed.
Okay, on that note, I just want to thank you, and I'm going to see you on another showing where we will interview you to get a little bit more deeper into the products. On that note, to my audience, as always, I say in every political election, you need to make sure you know the issues, you need to vote. We also encourage everybody to join an organization that speaks truth to power. We say join the Universal African Peoples Organization. On that note, may God bless each and every one of you.